In a quiet suburban neighborhood, a seemingly perfect family was shattered by a gruesome crime. The Smiths, a picture of suburban bliss, became the centerpiece of a chilling tale. In the heart of their peaceful community, they fell victim to a brutal murder, leaving behind a mystery that has yet to be unraveled. A crime so heinous it seemed unthinkable, a crime so shocking it defied comprehension. It was a crime so horrific it sent shockwaves through the community. The Smiths, a picture-perfect family, were living a seemingly ordinary life. Nestled in the heart of a quiet suburban neighborhood, the Smiths were the epitome of the American dream. John, the father, was a well-respected lawyer known for his charismatic charm and a sharp mind. His wife, Emily, was a talented artist whose work had started gaining recognition in various local galleries. Their two children, Lily and Max, were bright, lively, and full of promise. Lily, the elder of the two, was a star student and a competitive swimmer, while Max, the youngest, had a knack for music and could play the piano like a seasoned maestro. The Smiths, in essence, were the ideal family, loved by their neighbors and respected by their community. But beneath this picture-perfect facade were their secrets and tensions lurking. John, despite his successful career, was known to work long, stressful hours, often coming home late into the night. Emily, while a devoted mother, had stopped painting for a while, sparking whispers of a possible creative block or personal issues. And then there were Lily and Max, who, despite their talents and achievements, bore the pressure of living up to their parents' high expectations. The Smiths' home was a beautiful two-story house, well-maintained and full of life. But was it just a pretty shell hiding darker truths? Were there signs of discord within these walls that went unnoticed? Or maybe the Smiths were truly as harmonious as they seemed, and the brutal fate that befell them was as random as it was tragic. As we delve deeper into the Smiths' life, we'll unravel the layers of their existence, their dreams, their struggles, and their secrets, if any. We'll explore every facet of their lives in an attempt to understand who could have harbored such a deep-seated grudge against this family to commit such a heinous act. Who would want to harm such a family, and why? On a chilly winter's night, the tranquility of the Smiths' home was shattered. The Smiths, a seemingly average family living an ordinary suburban life, became the victims of a horrifying crime that sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community. Once a sanctuary of warmth and laughter, their home was transformed into a chilling crime scene. The family of four, parents John and Jane, and their children, 10-year-old Lily and 5-year-old Sam, were found lifeless in a scene that could only be described as brutal. As news of the tragedy spread, the suburban neighborhood that once thrived on block parties and friendly banter was swallowed by an eerie silence. The sight of children playing on the streets was replaced with a haunting image of police tape cordoning off the Smiths' residence. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers were united in shock and grief, their faces mirroring the same question. How could something so horrific happen here? The local police, faced with a crime that seemed more like a scene from a horror movie than a real-life incident, were initially baffled. With no apparent motive, no signs of forced entry, and no immediate suspects, the investigation hit a brick wall. The brutal nature of the crime suggested a perpetrator with a personal vendetta, but who would want to harm the Smiths, a family described by friends as loving and unassuming? The community rallied, holding vigils and offering support to the remaining relatives of the Smiths. Yet, beneath the outpouring of sympathy, a palpable fear lingered. If the killer could strike such an ordinary family, who else was at risk? The police, under mounting pressure, worked tirelessly to unearth any clues that could lead them to the perpetrator. Every piece of evidence was scrutinized, every lead explored, and yet the case remained cold. With no leads and a community in fear, the question remained, who did it? As the days turned into weeks, the brutal murder of the Smiths turned from a shocking incident into a haunting mystery, a chilling reminder of the evil that can lurk in the most unexpected places. As investigators delved deeper into the case, secrets began to unravel. In the wake of the Smiths' tragic demise, a dedicated team of detectives took on the daunting task of piecing together the puzzle. The brutal murder of the Smiths family was a complex case, one that presented more questions than answers. The initial step in the investigation was to explore the family's background, opening up a labyrinth of relationships and networks. The Smiths, a picture-perfect family, were well-loved and respected in their community. But as the saying goes, every family has its secrets. The first suspect under scrutiny was a disgruntled business associate of Mr. Smith. The associate and Mr. Smith had a falling out over a business deal gone sour just weeks before the incident. However, with an airtight alibi and no significant evidence linking him to the crime, he was soon ruled out. Next in line were the Smiths' neighbors. The Smiths, renowned for their lavish lifestyle, had recently been embroiled in a property dispute with the neighbors. The dispute had escalated to the point of legal intervention. Despite this, the neighbors had no history of violence, and the detectives found no concrete evidence tying them to the crime. As days turned into weeks, the investigation seemed to hit a dead end. The detectives were back to square one, grappling with the unnerving reality that the murderer was still at large. But they were not ready to give up. They began to dig deeper, exploring every possible motive, no matter how obscure. In their quest for justice, investigators stumbled upon an intriguing piece of evidence. Among the Smiths' personal effects was a series of anonymous threatening letters. The letters, filled with ominous warnings, seemed to hint at a grudge that ran deeper than a business deal or a property dispute. The source of these letters? Unknown. The motive behind them? Unclear. But they provided a fresh lead, a new direction for the investigation. The letters led the detectives down a path of hidden vendettas and undisclosed rivalries. They unearthed a web of connections that the Smiths had kept hidden from their community. Each connection, each secret was a potential lead, a possible motive. Despite the lack of immediate results, the investigators remained undeterred. They knew that solving a case of this magnitude was a marathon, not a sprint. Their determination was unwavering, their commitment to justice unshakable. But as the investigation stalled, a breakthrough was about to change everything. Just when all hope seemed lost, a crucial piece of evidence surfaced. A glimmer of light shone in the midst of a seemingly unsolvable puzzle. This was not just another lead that led to a dead end. This was a game changer. The Smiths' case was at a standstill, the trail gone cold. Investigators were left scratching their heads, the community was on edge, and the family's memory was tarnished by this unsolved mystery. But then a breakthrough, a piece of evidence that had been overlooked, a small detail that had been dismissed, suddenly became the beacon of hope in this dark tale. It was an unassuming piece of mail, a letter addressed to the Smiths that had been returned to sender. It was postmarked a few days before the murders. And this wasn't just any letter. It was an envelope filled with threats, a chilling prediction of the tragedy that was to unfold. It was a piece of the puzzle that no one saw coming. This revelation sent shockwaves through the investigation. Suddenly, detectives had a new lead to follow, a new suspect to consider. The letter was analyzed, fingerprints were lifted, handwriting was examined. The envelope itself was a trove of clues, a goldmine of potential leads. This was the breakthrough they had been waiting for. This piece of evidence was a turning point in the investigation. It reintroduced urgency into the case. It provided a new direction, a new hope. It made the investigators look at the case in a new light, reevaluate their suspects, reconsider their theories. This was not just a breakthrough, it was a lifeline. The discovery of the threatening letter breathed new life into the case. It gave the investigators a renewed sense of purpose, a renewed determination to bring the Smiths justice. The community, too, felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe the Smiths' killer would finally be brought to justice. Suddenly, the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. The Smiths' case was far from solved, but this new piece of evidence, this breakthrough, was a step in the right direction. It was a sign that justice, though delayed, was not denied. As the truth about the Smiths' murder began to emerge, the community was left reeling. A quiet suburban neighborhood, once known for its peace, tranquility, and tight-knit community, was forever marred by the brutal murder of the Smiths. The shockwaves from this gruesome crime rippled far beyond the yellow crime scene tape and the Smiths' white picket fence. The Smiths' home, once filled with laughter and joy, now stands as a chilling monument to the tragedy that unfolded. The neighborhood, once a haven for families, has been transformed into a place of whispers, suspicion, and fear. The residents walk a little faster, speak a little quieter, and trust a little less. The murder of the Smiths, a seemingly perfect family, shattered the illusion of safety and innocence that once defined the community. Parents hold their children a little tighter. Doors and windows are double-checked, and every stranger is met with a cautious glance. The investigation into the Smiths' murder, although painstaking and frustrating, has not been in vain. Each piece of evidence, each lead followed, each suspect questioned, has brought us closer to understanding the horrifying truth. The case, once a complex web of unanswered questions, has begun to unravel, revealing a picture more sinister than anyone could have imagined. The law enforcement officers working tirelessly on the case have been deeply affected. The magnitude of the crime, the brutality inflicted on a loving family, leaves an indelible mark on those tasked with seeking justice. Yet, they remain undeterred, fueled by a shared determination to solve this case and bring closure to a community living in the shadow of a horrifying crime. The Smiths' extended family and friends, robbed of their loved ones in the most violent way, grapple with the devastating loss. Their grief is palpable, their pain visible, and their search for answers unending. They have been thrust into a harsh spotlight, their private mourning on public display. Yet, they remain resilient, hoping for justice, and determined to ensure the Smiths are remembered for the love and joy they brought into the world, not just the violent manner in which they were taken from it. The Smiths' murder case remains open, the investigation ongoing. The community holds its breath, awaiting the day when the perpetrator is brought to justice, when they can finally begin to heal, to rebuild the shattered sense of safety and trust. But until then, the memory of the Smiths, the echoes of their laughter, The remnants of their lives linger in the quiet suburban neighborhood, a stark reminder of the fragility of life, the unpredictability of fate, and the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of a seemingly perfect life. The Smiths' case remains a chilling tale that continues to haunt the community. As we dive deeper into this labyrinth of secrets and lies, we invite you to join us on this journey. Subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn of this investigation. If you have any insights or theories, don't hesitate to share them in the comments. Remember, every bit of information helps to bring justice to those who can no longer speak for themselves.